For 12 long years, Emily Carter raised her twins alone in a small apartment in Portland. While the man who once promised her forever walked out without looking back, Daniel Hayes, now a high-profile tech CEO in California, buried his mistakes under money, ambition, and a life polished for magazine covers. Emily taught her kids how to ride bikes, helped them survive fevers, and wiped their tears alone without a single call from him. But fate tends to return deaths. One rainy evening, Emily's son Liam was rushed to the hospital after a highway bleeding, barely conscious. And when the hospital called the emergency contact listed in an old-school file, it happened. Daniel Hayes walked back into their lives, not as a father, not as a hero, but as the man forced to face the children he abandoned and the woman he broke. And this time, destiny wasn't giving him an escape. Emily had learned to live with silence, the kind that fills a home after kids fall asleep, the kind that settles in your chest once heartbreak stops screaming. 12 years was a long time to raise twins without support, but she made it work. Liam and Lily were everything to her. It was a Thursday evening when her world flipped. Liam, who had gone to basketball practice with a friend's dad, wasn't picking up his phone. Then came the call-up. Trembling voice, saying there'd been an accident on Highway 26. Emily didn't remember grabbing her keys or locking the apartment door. She only remembered her hands shaking so badly she couldn't even fasten her seatbelt. At the ER doors, doctors rushed past her with a stretcher. Liam lay on it unconscious, blood on his shirt, an oxygen mask strapped to his face. "Ma'am, please step back," a nurse said. I'm his mother." Emily gasped. Lily clung to Emily's jacket, crying silently. Emily held her tight, trying not to collapse. As they waited in a freezing hallway, a doctor approached. "We're stabilizing him, but he might need surgery. We're checking all emergency contacts." Emily nodded, wiping her face. "I'm here. I'm the only one." The doctor frowned. "There's another contact in his school file. We already called him." Emily froze. What? What other contact? Before she could finish, fast, heavy footsteps echoed through the corridor. The kind of confident, expensive footsteps she'd tried to forget. She turned and her breath stopped. Daniel Hayes, her ex-husband, the man who left when the twins were barely 2. He looked older, sharper, dressed in a suit that didn't belong in a hospital. His face held shock and guilt. "Emily," he whispered, as if her name tasted unfamiliar now. Lily hid behind Emily instantly. She didn't know this man. She shouldn't have known him. Emily straightened her shoulders, fighting the storm rising inside her. "Why are you here?" "The hospital called," Daniel said softly. "They said, my son." Emily flinched. "Your son? You remember that now?" He swallowed, eyes burning into Liam's room door. "Is he going to be okay?" Her voice cracked. "I don't know." For a moment, Daniel's confident CEO facade shattered. His breathing shook, his hand trembled, and Emily hated that seeing him break still did something to her heart. A nurse approached. "We need a family member to sign consent forms for the surgery." Emily stepped forward, but the nurse looked between them and added, "Both parents, if possible." The word stabbed her. She wasn't used to sharing anything related to her kids, not decisions, not responsibilities, not signatures. Daniel hesitated, then reached for the clipboard. Emily's voice hardened. "Don't touch it unless you're staying." He lifted his eyes to hers, and for the first time in 12 years, she saw fear in them. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. She didn't believe him. Not yet. Not after 12 years of silence. But when the doctor called them inside, and they saw Liam hooked to machines, even Emily felt a shift in the air. Because that moment raw, terrifying. Riel did something no courtroom, no letter, no apology ever could. It forced Daniel Hayes to face what he had abandoned, and it forced Emily to face the man she thought she'd finally erased from her life. Emily didn't know how long she stood there, staring at Liam through the glass window. Machines beeped steadily. The fourth lines ran down his arms, and his small chest rose and fell with the rhythm of the ventilator. He looked fragile, far too fragile for a 14-year-old boy who had spent the morning laughing at breakfast. Lily sat beside her, curled up in a chair, her eyes red but quiet now. Emily brushed her daughter's hair gently, reminding herself she had to stay strong for both of them. Falling apart was not an option, but when she sensed another presence behind her, her whole body tensed. She didn't need to look to know who it was. Daniel stood a few feet away, his hands in his pockets, a man used to control, now unable to control anything. His usually perfect posture looked shaken. His eyes were glued to Liam, as if he were memorizing the shape of the boy he had missed growing up. "He's taller than I imagined." Daniel whispered. Emily's jaw tightened. He grew. Kids do that. He winced at her tone but didn't move. Instead, he stepped closer to the window, fingertips brushing the cold glass. I missed everything you chose to. Her voice was sharper than she intended. But the truth had lived in her chest for too long to come out gently. The air between them thickened. A nurse approached. Ma'am, sir, the doctor would like to speak with both of you. Emily rose. Daniel followed silently. Inside the consultation room, Dr. Peters leaned against the desk, looking exhausted from the overnight shift. Liam will need surgery early in the morning, the doctor said. There's internal bruising and a risk of organ damage. We need to be prepared. Emily's heart dropped to her stomach. Is he in danger? We're doing everything to prevent that, the doctor reassured gently. But yes, this is serious. Emily felt Lily press her face into her mother's side. She wrapped an arm around her daughter protectively. Daniel stepped forward, voice low, shaky. Doctor, whatever it takes, whatever treatment, specialist, cost anything, just save him. Emily looked at him sharply. The man who once claimed he wasn't ready to be a father now sounded like one. But she refused to let that soften her. Dr. Peters continued. Tonight, one parent can stay in the room. Only one. Emily opened her mouth, but Daniel spoke first. She should stay, he said quietly. Liam needs her. She's his comfort. That surprised her. Not the words. The humility. Emily nodded slowly. I'll stay. Daniel looked like he wanted to say something, maybe apologize, maybe promise something he wasn't sure he could deliver, but he stayed silent. As they left the consultation room, Lily tugged on Emily's sleeve. Mom, who is he? Emily stopped. Her heart twisted. She had avoided this question for 12 years. Daniel froze to listening. Emily crouched in front of her daughter. He's someone from a long time ago. Lily frowned. But the doctor said both parents. The hallway felt too bright, too quiet. Emily swallowed. I'm your father. Daniel finished softly. Lily stared at him, really stared. Confused, curious, hurt, all at once. You're my dad, she whispered. Daniel nodded, guilt softening every angle of his face. I am, and I'm so sorry, I wasn't here for you. Lily slipped behind Emily again, unsure, not ready to accept someone who had never been real in her life. Emily's heart cracked at the sight. Daniel looked like someone had pulled the ground from beneath him. Give her time, Emily said quietly. Both kids. They don't know you. They don't owe you anything. He nodded. I know. Emily walked Lily back toward the room. Daniel followed at a distance, unsure if he had permission to even take the same steps. Inside, Liam looked peaceful under the soft lights. Emily pulled a chair closer to the bed and held her son's hand. Lily sat on the other side, still glancing at Daniel from behind her mother's arm. Daniel stood near the door, feeling like a ghost. After a few minutes, Lily whispered, Mom, can he sit? Emily hesitated, then nodded. Daniel approached slowly like he was afraid the moment might disappear. He sat in the corner, away from the kids, hands folded tightly. Silence wrapped the room, heavy, thick. Then Emily noticed his eyes glistening, blinking too fast. She had seen him stone-faced in courtrooms. She had seen him cold when he walked out, but she had never seen him cry. Why are you here, Daniel? She asked softly, unable to stop herself. He exhaled slowly, because when the hospital said your son is critically injured, something broke inside me. I don't know how to explain it. I haven't felt anything for years. But those words, he paused, voice shaking. They woke something I thought I didn't deserve anymore. Emily looked at him for a long moment. You didn't just leave me, you left them. Daniel nodded. I know, and I'll spend the rest of my life carrying that? The truth in his voice stunned her. She had expected excuses, she had prepared for lies. But this a man swallowed by regret she wasn't ready for. A soft knock came at the door. A nurse poked her head in. Ms. Carter, your son's vitals are stable. He'll need rest. If you need blankets or anything, let me know. Thank you, Emily whispered. The nurse glanced at Daniel. You both should stay hydrated. It's going to be a long night. Daniel stood. I'll get water. He left quickly, as if glad to be given something, anything he could do. Emily watched him through the glass as he spoke to the vending machine attendant, still shaken, still lost, like a man trying to relearn how to breathe. When he returned, he placed the water bottle quietly beside her. Their fingers brushed. She didn't pull away, not forgiveness, not hope. Just a moment, a tiny crack in 12 years of silence. Emily looked at her sleeping Son. Daniel looked at the family he threw away, and the night pressed on like a weight neither of them knew how to carry. Because tomorrow morning, when Liam went into surgery, one truth would rise to the surface. A man who abandoned his children was about to learn that fate doesn't forget, and Emily was about to discover that some wounds don't stay buried forever. The night was long, sterile, and filled with the low hum of machines. Emily sat beside Liam, brushing the sweat-soaked hair from his forehead, her hand trembling but steady enough to keep him comfortable. Lily, curled in her mother's lap, had finally quieted down. Though her small fingers clutched Emily's shirt like she could anchor herself to safety, the fluorescent lights reflected off the walls, bouncing back the faces of parents and children alike, each caught in their own storm. But for Emily, this was not just a hospital, it was a battlefield, and she was fighting alone. As she had done for 12 years, Daniel sat across the room, hands clasped tightly, staring at Liam's chest rise and fall. He had never realized how fragile a life could feel. Not even the boardroom, the contracts, the millions he controlled could make him feel this exposed. The boy lying in the bed was his son, his responsibility. His failure made flesh. Minutes stretched into hours. Every monitor beeped like a reminder. Every door opening a small jolt to the fragile balance Emily had fought so hard to maintain. She kept her voice calm, whispering soft reassurances to Liam as if her words could shield him from the danger. But the tension in her chest was unbearable. She had spent 12 years protecting these children from the world. Now the man who had abandoned them had returned, and the weight of his presence pressed down like a storm. Daniel finally spoke, voice low and unsure. "Emily, I don't know how to do this." Emily's eyes shot up at him. "Do what, Daniel?" "Be here, care, apologize." He flinched. "All of it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I missed everything. And now it feels like it's too late." Emily's jaw tightened. She wanted to shout, to scream, to make him feel the years of pain, the nights she cried alone while he dined in luxury, but instead, she whispered, "It's not about what's too late. It's about what you're willing to do now. That's all." Daniel nodded, swallowing hard. "Then tell me what I can do. Anything." She looked at him, studying the man before her, the one who had broken her heart, abandoned his family, and yet now looked small, vulnerable, desperate. She had spent years building walls around her heart. Tonight, for reasons she could not explain, a small crack appeared. "Sit," she said softly. "Sit over there. Don't get in the way. Don't scare him. Just be here. That's all I ask." Daniel moved cautiously, sitting in the corner chair. His presence was tentative, careful, like a man walking on ice he feared might break at any moment. Emily turned back to Liam, whispering, "Mommy's here. You're safe." Hours passed, the night stretching endlessly. Every so often, Daniel's eyes wandered from Liam to Lily and back. He was learning the rhythm of this family, the quiet, unspoken patterns Emily had maintained for over a decade. He noticed how she anticipated every need, how her voice calmed both children, how her gaze scanned the room constantly, watching for the slightest sign of distress. He felt small, incompetent, helpless, but unlike anything he had ever felt in the boardroom. He couldn't fix this with money, power, or influence. Here, he had nothing but his guilt and a willingness to try. At one point, Lily stirred, sleep tugging at her eyelids. She whispered, "Mom, can he stay?" Her small gaze, wide and innocent, met Emily's. Emily's heart skipped a beat. "He can stay," she said quietly. Lily's tiny hand reached for Daniel, then hesitated. Finally, she touched his arm gently. Daniel froze, stunned by the simple act of trust. He had never been allowed into this space before, and now, a child he barely knew was reaching out to him, even tentatively. "Hi," he whispered, unsure. "I'm Daniel, your dad." Lily blinked, studying him. Then, with the innocent courage only a child could summon, she whispered back, "Okay." Emily's chest tightened. This was not forgiveness. Not yet, but it was a start. Time passed. The beeping of the monitors slowed as Liam's vitals stabilized. The doctor came by to check, nodding at Emily with relief. "He's going to make it through the night," Dr. Peters said softly. "We'll need to keep monitoring him, but he's stable for now." Emily exhaled, allowing herself a brief moment of relief. She looked over at Daniel. He was sitting upright, watching her, watching the kids, taking in everything silently. He didn't speak, but she could see it, the silent acknowledgement that he had failed them, that he had missed years, and that tonight, perhaps, a chance to start again had begun. Hours later, as the first hints of dawn crept through the blinds, Daniel quietly stood and walked to Emily. I know I don't deserve this, any of this, but thank you for letting me stay. Emily shook her head, a tear escaping down her cheek. Don't thank me, just be better now. For them. He nodded solemnly. I will. The children stirred awake slowly. Liam's eyes fluttered open. He blinked at the monitors, then at Emily, and finally caught sight of Daniel. His small face scrunched in confusion. Dad, he asked tentatively. Daniel knelt slowly, careful not to startle him. Hi buddy, I'm Daniel. I know this is confusing. I know I wasn't here before, but I'm here now. Liam's gaze flickered between his mother and this man. He didn't speak for a moment, unsure what to make of this stranger claiming to be his father. Emily held his hand tightly. Take your time, Liam. You don't have to do anything you're not ready for. Daniel nodded, accepting the boundaries. He was learning finally what it meant to be a father. The morning sun lit the hospital room, casting a soft glow over the three of them. For the first time in 12 years, Emily allowed herself to hope. Not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe, just maybe, a chance to rebuild what had been broken. Because tonight had proven one thing: life doesn't wait, fate doesn't forgive, and some mistakes can't stay buried forever. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the blinds, warm but unforgiving, lighting up the sterile hospital room. Liam slept peacefully now, his small chest rising and falling steadily under the monitoring equipment. Lily sat quietly beside Emily, clutching her mother's hand, her face still soft from sleep but eyes wary of the man who had suddenly appeared in their lives. Daniel stood near the window, silent, watching. The night had been long, filled with tension, guilt, and small breakthroughs, but nothing compared to the news that awaited him. Dr. Peters approached cautiously. Mr. Hayes, we've stabilized Liam, but there's another concern we need to discuss regarding your health. Your test results came back overnight. You're not doing well, your kidneys are failing. You may need an urgent transplant soon. Daniel froze. The air seemed to vanish from the room. He had spent years believing he was invincible, protected by wealth and power, but now, the stark truth hit him like a freight train. He couldn't buy his way out. He needed help, and not just any help, someone with a matching kidney. Emily's eyes widened slightly at the news. She had expected this reunion to be awkward, tense, maybe even healing, but she hadn't expected it to bring Daniel to the edge of death. And she hadn't expected Lily and Liam to react the way they did. Liam stirred awake, yawning and rubbing his eyes. He glanced at Daniel, noticing the pale look on his face, the way his hands trembled slightly. Dad, are you okay? He asked softly, voice tentative. Daniel shook his head. No, buddy. I might need your help. I mean, someone's help. Liam's brow furrowed. What do you mean? Daniel hesitated, swallowing hard. I might need a kidney transplant. It's serious. Without it, I could die. For a moment, the room was silent. Emily's heart raced, her mind spinning. She looked at her children. Liam's small hands were trembling slightly, but then her gaze fell on Lily. The fire in her daughter's eyes brave. Bold, unafraid, made her mother pause. Lily swallowed hard. Mom, I can help him, she said quietly. Emily froze. Lily, what are you talking about? My blood tests from last year. I might be a match, Lily said softly. Her voice was steady, determined. I want to help him. He's my dad. Daniel's eyes widened. He stared at her, disbelief and awe, mixing together. The little girl who had barely spoken to him the night before was now offering him the chance to live. 12 years of abandonment suddenly collided with this small act of courage, and he felt a tear slide down his cheek. Emily's chest tightened. She had raised these kids to be strong, independent, kind, and here they were, offering life to the man who had left them. She swallowed hard, holding Lily's hand tightly. Are you sure, baby? Lily nodded. I'm sure. I want him to live. I want him to have a chance to be with us, with me and Liam. Daniel bent down to Lily's level, voice choked. You don't have to do this. I don't deserve this. You don't get to decide that, Lily said, her small eyes blazing. I decide, and I want to do this. Emily couldn't help herself. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She pulled Lily into a hug, holding her close. You're so brave, she whispered. The doctors prepped for surgery. Blood was drawn, cross-matching done, and within hours, it was confirmed. Lily was a perfect match. She would give her kidney to save the man who had abandoned her, the man who had left scars on their family, but who now had no choice but to face them fully. In the operating room, Daniel lay on the table, machines beeping steadily. Emily sat beside him, holding his hand. Lily by her side, small but resolute, Liam stood near the door, watching with a mixture of fear and hope. The surgery began. Time moved slowly. Each second stretched into eternity. Emily whispered to Daniel softly, "You have to come back to us. You have to survive this." And somehow, he did. Hours later, the doctors emerged. The transplant was successful. He's stable, recovering. He has a long road ahead, but he's going to live. Relief flooded the room. Emily cried openly, hugging Lily tightly. Liam ran to Daniel's bedside, tears streaming down his face. "Dad, you're alive." Daniel turned, weak but smiling, and looked at his children. I don't deserve this, any of it, but thank you. Thank you both." He looked at Emily, his eyes full of remorse. "And Emily, I am so sorry. I was wrong, all of it." Emily nodded, tears blurring her vision. "It's not about apologies anymore. It's about moving forward. And if you're ready to try, really try, then we can figure it out." Slowly, Daniel's lips trembled as he whispered, "I'll do whatever it takes. I'll never leave again." The family sat together: Emily, Daniel, Liam, and Lily. For 12 years, they had been broken, apart, surviving in pieces. But now, in that sterile hospital room bathed in morning light, they were together, whole, fragile, and painfully human, but together. Days later, Daniel began physical therapy, learning how to live again with a new kidney, a new purpose, and finally, a family he had ignored for over a decade. Emily watched him cautiously, still protective, still wary, but hopeful. Liam and Lily laughed more, teaching him the small things: board games, bedtime stories, morning pancakes. And for Daniel, every laugh, every hug, every tiny smile was a reminder that wealth, power, and success meant nothing compared to this: being present, being loved, and being forgiven, not entirely, but enough to start again. Because sometimes, life forces people back together. Sometimes, miracles come in the form of small hands offering hope. And sometimes, the family you almost lost can save the life of the one who lost them first. For Daniel Hayes, Emily Carter, Liam, and Lily, the past was still there, the pain still lingered, but so did the possibility of a future. And for the first time in 12 years, it was real. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like and share it with someone who needs a reminder that family and love can overcome even the hardest times. Comment below and tell us what you would do if someone from your past suddenly returned. We love reading your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you never miss another emotional, real-life story that makes you feel, cry, and hope all at once. Your support helps us share more powerful stories like this. Share the love, and let's spread hope together.